is the 7th, and for me it is the 6th of November 2025. And we've got a couple of things that I want to talk about. The first thing will be a sweet, sweet goodbye to dear old Nancy Pelosi. And it couldn't have been sooner enough. Nah, 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 nah. Nah, 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 nah. Get the fuck out of here. So, we're going to cover her announcement for retirement. And she should have done this years ago, just like a majority of the people in Congress should not be her age and in power. But hey, what do you know? I'm a pleb.
Motion is adopted.
The end of an era tonight for Democrats and for one of the country's most powerful women in politics ever.
I will not be seeking re-election to Congress.
85-year-old Nancy Pelosi announcing her retirement.
We have always led the way, and now we must continue to do so.
And there's been plenty of gay people and women that could have been in your position and done way more progress and caused more benefit. You can only ride the high of past accomplishments for so long.
Remaining full participants in our democracy.
Pelosi was first elected to represent San Francisco nearly 40 years ago, ultimately becoming in 2007 the first woman to serve as Speaker of the House.
Today we have broken the marble ceiling.
Pelosi helped shepherd the Affordable Care Act into law under President Obama and pushed a climate and health care law under President Biden before wielding her influence to nudge him out of the 2024 race.
Nancy,
and with President Trump, Pelosi became a chief antagonist, controversially tearing up his 2020 State of the Union remarks and going after him as recently as this week.
He's just a vile creature. The worst thing on the face of the earth.
President Trump.
Let's be a little honest here, though, Nancy. You helping keep things as stale as you have is the reason why this horrible thing has become our president. It is you and the Democratic establishment that have left people behind and felt ignored is exactly why he has ended up in power. And I'm not saying a bunch of us switched over to vote for him. Some of us did, and they should be ashamed of themselves. But you got a lot of people on our side who just said, I'm not going to go vote. And listen, I live in a red state where as soon as I wake up on election day, we've already lost. But again, I have ancestors that died not having the right to vote, were not recognized as citizens. Okay, so I take voting a little bit more serious because there were people in my family ancestral line that did not get this opportunity. So, and I always find it funny how Abraham Lincoln's head is just facing down, facing away and facing down.
Trump late today.
I think she's an able woman. I'm glad she's retired.
Some Republicans have questioned the millions she and her husband made in stock trades, with Pelosi brushing off accusations of insider trading, saying she's not involved in her husband's investment choices. Pelosi has faced the
Well, that's a funny choice of words because to some extent you are. You're married. You both share finances to a degree. Yeah, I know, they're rich, blah, 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 blah. They share finances to a degree. I promise you, no married couple does not share finances on some level. And again, I don't believe that for a second. You know everything that goes on within the stock market, within Washington. It's easy. You can easily just say, hey, this thing might be happening. They're all doing it. They've all been doing it forever.
threat of political violence. 3 years ago, Paul Pelosi was attacked in the couple's home. Today, her focus on her constituents as she steps away from the chamber she shaped for decades.
She is the most effective speaker in American history.
I mean, I guess maybe in some person's eyes, but I'm almost certain it's probably a better one.
Looking ahead, Pelosi's retirement may send a signal to other long-serving Democrats to make room for younger leaders.
A little too late for her to be spreading that message. I still remember the video of her, pointing her finger and, trying to, quote-unquote, train AOC like a puppy. No. It's a little too late for that, but thanks. Alright, next story. We're going to cover It's more of this thing between ICE and this judge in Chicago. So she had Bovino in. And Bovino was acting like a good little cuck. He was behaving. And of course, he wasn't going to listen to anything. So now we're going to hear more about how she criticizes the immigration crackdown tactics. Because they're not changing. They're not going to stop. And they lie about everything. Well, melt the ice, buddy.
A federal judge in Chicago today issued a sharp rebuke of the Trump administration's immigration enforcement tactics, saying federal officers used force against protesters and members of the media that, quote, shocks the conscience. Judge Sarah Ellis said she saw little reason for the force currently used and extended restrictions on federal agents that she issued last month. Chicago has been at the epicenter of the administration's crackdown. Just yesterday, multiple armed ICE agents arrested a daycare worker in front of children, pulling her out of the building and forcibly detaining her. Late last month, they disrupted a suburban Halloween parade, deploying tear gas and arresting several people as parents and children watched.
Here's your reminder that you as an American citizen, your child as an American citizen, now I'm not talking about immigrant, I'm talking about being an American citizen, period. You are at risk of being traumatized, gassed out, smoked, flashbang, whatever. You're at risk. This is a Halloween parade, and they started doing this right before a Halloween parade. A daycare worker. Them kids are going to have so much trauma from the experience of seeing these masked goons go in there and take one of their caretakers, their daycare teacher. And you can't tell me, and I don't want to hear a goddamn thing about, oh, whatever, kids need to grow up. It makes character. No, fuck off. Listen, I know personally of cases where children have straight up had to be taken out of the house, especially if like they're in the middle of nap time and they just woke up. They remember, they don't forget, and it traumatizes them. I'm telling you, you don't want children radicalized, and stop doing radical shit in front of children.
And agents have used aggressive tactics like pulling this man out of his car, wrestling him to the ground, and punching him repeatedly during an arrest last week after he collided with the rear of a Border Patrol vehicle. For more on all this, I'm joined now by Heather Sharon of WTTW, Chicago's PBS station. Heather, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
So Judge Ellis's decision followed an 8-hour hearing yesterday where she heard testimony from multiple people. What should we understand about what led to her decision and those really sharp words she had for the Trump administration?
Well, Judge Ellis spent the bulk of the 90 minutes she spent speaking from the bench painstakingly detailed some of the testimony she heard during that marathon hearing yesterday. She spoke about how regular Chicagoans had come out to exercise their First Amendment rights and found themselves, in one particular case, staring down the barrel of the gun. She said that she could see no reason for the actions of the Trump administration and said that they were just simply not credible when they told her that they had been sort of targeted by a coordinated, violent mob. Instead, she said it was just regular Chicagoans, moms in some case, who had come out to protect the most vulnerable of their neighbors and friends.
Yep, that's all you gotta do is be a witness to it. Be a witness to it and say you don't like it, and you are immediately gonna be pushed. These guys, all of ICE, including the women, they're all traitors. They are scum. They're disgusting people. You turn your back on people for 50 grand and even more after that. I hope when they go to sleep at night, I hope they sleep and they hear children crying. I hope they hear moms crying. I hope they hear people screaming when they go to bed. I hope they have nightmares. Full-on nightmares that they need years of therapy to get over. But since they continue doing what they do, it's going to take longer to get over. If you are part of ICE, if you have family as part of ICE, if you're especially proud of your family member in ICE, you are also scum and a traitor just like they are. And I mean that. You're all disgusting if you support ice and you enjoy ice. The only way I enjoy ice is in a cup. That's it. Ice cream, but ice, melt it.
Judge Ellis even at one point accused one of the senior Border Patrol officials, a man named Gregory Bovino, of lying about their own tactics and the protesters' actions. What was that about?
She had very critical remarks about what Gregory Bovino told her. And remember, he has really become the face of President Trump's mass deportation efforts. She said that he admitted that he lied when he said that he had been struck in the head with a rock before deploying tear gas against a crowd in Little Village, which is really the heart of Chicago's Mexican-American community. She also said that he lied when he denied using force against a protester when he was captured on video tackling that man. Even after he was allowed to see that video during his deposition, he denied that he used force against that man, saying instead the man whom he tackled had used force against him.
And Heather, we know Chicago and the surrounding areas have really been a focal point for the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Why is that? What should we understand about that?
Well, dating back for more than a decade, President Trump has held up Chicago as the epitome of all of America's urban ills. He has long been at odds with Governor J.B. Pritzker, who is, of course, weighing a bid for president in 2028. He has repeatedly demeaned Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. And there was no doubt in anybody's mind in Chicago that once Trump returned to the White House in January, it was just a matter of time before.
I guarantee you, and I promise you, I've seen it, you can find it, you might believe it's fake news because you got a problem, but regardless, if you live in a red state, crime is worse where you live compared to Chicago or Portland or LA. Crime is worse, murder is worse where you live. Part of that is also because we, in red states, have stupid laws against drug use and in mental illness. I literally a year ago had a friend of mine who was murdered by her husband. Her husband is not getting the full sentence he should be getting. I kind of go back and forth on death penalty because I have feelings in that matter, so I have a bias. But like, he ain't getting the death penalty. And I think it's like second degree murder, maybe. Some of the things that happen in that situation do not scream second degree to me. But around here, the DA, the Attorney General, all this stuff, all these red officials in our societies here make this shit worse. So we have plenty of crime here. Also, our government officials don't really care. Just remember that.
Where he targeted Chicago, even though Chicago wasn't first on his list, that went to Los Angeles, where also Gregory Bovino was leading the charge in that immigration enforcement operation.
Meanwhile, related to this, we should note this week there was another federal judge who ordered authorities to improve conditions inside a Chicago area ICE detention facility after a group of detainees actually sued. What were those detainees alleging, and what did the judge order?
Well, the detainees told the judge that they were kept in essentially deplorable conditions. They were not fed a single hot meal. They were not provided with soap. The women were not provided with menstrual products. And they said they were essentially kept in a giant room, forced to sleep one on top of the other.
You guys remember Alligator Alcatraz? I know when it comes like the online world and the internet, a minute is like a year. I get that. But like, don't forget, 2/3 of the people that were in Alligator Alcatraz are missing. They're undocumented. And I don't mean like, oh, they're undocumented as in they came here. As in those people are gone. 2/3 of those people are gone. There's, and I'm loosely remembering this. Loosely. There is a man who was detained by ICE. He needed insulin. He's a diabetic. His family were trying to give it to him or get it to him. They didn't want it. They weren't going to take it. He mentioned in a facility he needs it. He's kept without it for 10 days. And he was finally taken to an ER, to a hospital where he can get his insulin. I don't remember if he died. I hope he didn't. I hope he's okay. But still, they don't care. They look at these immigrants and anybody who is against ICE, they look at them as an enemy, as some sort of monster, some sort of like roach or pest to get rid of. Of course, they're not going to take care of these people. They already see taking care of these people as a weakness and a fault of the government. When, like for instance, you can't even get licensed to vote. You can't even get registered to vote if you're an illegal immigrant. You can't. And again, if you're an illegal immigrant, I've worked with plenty in my days. Kitchens and weed farm days, I've worked with a lot of Mexicans, especially some illegals. They're not going to go try and register to vote. They're not going to go try because they want to stay away from government officials so they don't risk getting caught, so they can keep making money and sending it back to their family. So they can keep taking care of themselves and try to make a better life. They're not going to try and do that. Same thing with Medicaid and Obamacare and all that. They can't get it. I said in a video like maybe last month actually, I said it. I said that if you see an illegal immigrant, first off, you wouldn't know if they're an illegal immigrant necessarily. There are legal people here that speak Spanish as their first language because, by the way, English is fucking hard. English is not an easy language to learn. We are one of the more complicated languages because we have so many different languages incorporated into our own language. So you wouldn't know if there's an illegal immigrant, but if you find an illegal immigrant in a hospital, they're paying out of pocket. They're going to pay out of pocket at some point, and they probably have a shit ton of medical debt, just like average Americans. So, of course, they're not going to treat them well. ICE is disgusting, and anybody supporting ICE is disgusting as well. The good news keeps on coming. Our hero, the Subway sandwich slinger, has been acquitted. He is not guilty of assault. He didn't hit you with assault with a deadly weapon. Toasty. Let's get on with this. The Subway sandwich slinger is finally free. That's a lot of alliteration there. Am I right?
Well, Sean Dunn had become somewhat of a cult hero and a symbol of the resistance to the Trump administration over the past few months, with images of him throwing that sub popping up on T-shirts and buildings around D.C. Today, the so-called D.C. sandwich guy and his legal team let out a huge...
Not D.C. sandwich guy. Subway sandwich slinger. I literally wrote a song about this whole thing. It's a bullshit song, maybe like one verse. And mostly hook, pre-chorus, and whatever. I still wrote it. Subway sandwich slinger.
Sigh of relief and cheers when a jury found him not guilty of misdemeanor assault.
Shame! Shame!
The video quickly went viral, with Sean Dunn being dubbed the DC sandwich guy. He could be seen getting in federal agents' faces and screaming shame and profanities. Prosecutors say he then slung a salami sub into the chest of a Border Patrol.
Slung a salami sub. God damn, why didn't I think of that? Subway sandwich slinger slinging a salami sub. Oh my god. I could have done something with that.
Agent and ran away, only getting about a block before he was arrested. The next day, he was fired from his job at the Department of Justice. Now, 3 months later, a D.C. jury found him not guilty of misdemeanor assault.
Justice prevails in spite of everything happening. And that night, I believe that I was protecting the rights of immigrants. And let us not forget that the Great Seal of the United States says e pluribus unum. That means from many, one. Every life matters, no matter where you came from, no matter how you got here, no matter how you identify.
During the trial,
Justice has been served fresh. Piping hot and fresh. You may not see me right now. I don't have my camera set up, but I salute you, sir.
Federal prosecutors had argued the video clearly showed Dunn throwing the sandwich and that he later admitted to it and that he shouldn't get a free pass for his behavior. The officer who was hit by the sandwich testified that it, quote, exploded all over his chest and that he could smell the mustard and onions.
Ooh, mustard and onions. Ooh, mustard and onions. All I smell is swine and bacon grease when y'all go by. What you complaining about?
But the defense argued a picture of the sub afterwards showed it was still in its wrapper and therefore couldn't have exploded. According to the defense, the officer's bulletproof vest should have been more than enough to protect him from a sandwich. And the defense said the Border Patrol officer got multiple gag gifts afterwards from his coworkers, like a plush sandwich and a patch that the officer put on his lunchbox.
Also, he was actually kind of proud of it. Wow. I've never heard of assault victims being proud of being assaulted. Never heard of someone being proud of being assaulted. Sounds like it wasn't assault to me either.
Which the defense said was proof the event wasn't that serious. During the trial, several D.C. residents showed up in support of Dunn.
He's a hero. He's the spirit of the revolution now against the Trump administration. He expressed what a lot of us feel as frustration.
As always, we accepted.
Oh, God, the alcoholic. Do we always have to pull one of these alcoholics from the administration in here? Seriously, dude. Ugh.
Jury's verdict. That is the system within which we function. But no police officer should be subjected to any kind of assault.
Bullshit.
While he or she is simply doing their job.
No, I believe the ones that were beating Rodney King should have been assaulted right back. I believe the ones who were sitting on the neck of George Floyd for over 9 minutes should have been assaulted right back. That's just me. That's just me. So no, I don't think officers should be free of assault. I think if the public sees something completely disgusting that they are taking part in, we have a right to do something to pull them away or stop them. And there have been many, many cases where police have overstepped their bounds. And in my opinion, the public stepping in would have been completely warranted. And I'm not over here asking for violence, but I'm also saying that if you see your fellow man being held down by the boot, why aren't we all doing something about it? That's all I'm saying. So she wrong. Police officers are going to assault you, but they can never be assaulted. They can assault your freedoms, but you can never assault their freedoms. And again, it is hard to take a cop to court and win over something they've done. They have immunity for the most part. So it's not like you can just like, take them to court. Drain your money. Sure, go ahead, drain your money. When they're oftentimes given immunity for things that they shouldn't be given immunity for.
Even children know not to assault and not to throw things at other children.
I think other children know also that you should treat your other fellow children with respect. And when you see that one of your fellow children is not being treated right, you say something. That's just me. I'm tired of her. Good morning.
Let me